Hey guys, welcome back to Mind Your Conversions, brought to you by Fiverr. If you're new here, this is where we break down the art and science of marketing with our hosts, Jack and Emma. They will help you understand marketing better, explore fresh strategies, and most importantly, suggest you how to improve your website digital experience. So whether you're a seasoned pro, or even if you're just getting started, you're at the right place.
So, picture this. You are spending, roughly 18% more this year just to buy the exact same click you bought back in 2023.
Yeah, which is just a brutal reality for budgets right now.
Right, it's painful. And yet, despite that cost, there's a massive probability that your website is actively lying to the person who just clicked it.
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time.
You spend all this money in, dialing in a hyper-targeted ad for a highly specific software feature. The prospect clicks through and then bam, you drop them onto a generic one-size-fits-all homepage.
The continuity is just completely broken.
Exactly. The prospect bounces and your marketing budget just took a direct hit for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, it's a systemic failure across performance marketing right now. We spend weeks optimizing the ad creative, testing the copy, and then we completely drop the baton the millisecond the prospect actually clicks.
Which perfectly brings us to our mission for this deep dive. Today, we're exploring why fixing that exact post-click experience, which is a tactic called message matching, it's the single most powerful conversion rate optimization tactic available in 2026.
Without a doubt, it's the biggest lever you can pull.
And we are pulling from a really extensive, highly technical June 2026 guide published by Fiverr.ai. This document is essentially a masterclass on navigating the current algorithmic landscape.
Yeah, it's incredibly detailed.
It really is. It goes into leveraging UTM-driven personalization and basically skyrocketing your CVR by treating the ad and the landing page as a single unbreakable journey.
And looking at the data they've compiled in this guide, this isn't just about, polishing the user experience anymore.
Right. It's way deeper than that.
Exactly. The guide meticulously details the harsh algorithmic penalties companies are facing when they fail to maintain that continuity. We are talking about severe, compounding financial consequences for a disjointed funnel.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because right out of the gate, the Fiverr guide makes this really compelling argument that a high click-through rate, a high CTR, can actually be a dangerous metric if it's decoupled from intent fulfillment.
Yeah, which sounds counterintuitive at first.
It does. We usually celebrate a high click-through rate, right? But if you're pulling in all that traffic and failing to match the messaging on the other side, you're not just wasting money. The system actually actively penalizes you.
What's fascinating here is that this is the core mechanism of the 2026 landscape.
Yeah.
The danger stems entirely from cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance. Okay, break that down for us.
So a click is fundamentally a promise. When a prospect clicks an ad, they form a highly specific, immediate expectation in their brain.
Right, they want exactly what they just clicked on.
Precisely. If your ad promises, say, an enterprise-grade security protocol breakdown, but your landing page just serves a fluffy top-of-funnel marketing video for small businesses, you haven't just lost the conversion.
You've annoyed them.
You've introduced major friction. The trust breaks instantly. But more importantly, the underlying architecture of search engines today is aggressively monitoring that specific friction point.
Let me give an analogy here to make this really visceral. It's kind of like walking into a restaurant, because the sign outside advertises half-price pizza, but then when you sit down, the waiter hands you a menu that only has full-price seafood.
Yes, that is exactly what it feels like to the user. You feel misled.
You just get up and leave, which is the digital equivalent of a bounce.
Exactly. And Google's algorithm is heavily weighting that post-click session data into its ad quality score now. It's no longer just about whether your keyword matches the ad text.
So it's watching what happens after the click.
Very closely. If a user clicks your ad, experiences that seafood menu dissonance, and instantly pogo sticks back to the search results, Google's machine learning models log that rapid bounce.
And I imagine the algorithm doesn't look kindly on that.
Not at all. The algorithm interprets that rapid bounce as a misleading experience. Google's primary imperative is protecting its own user experience.
Of course.
So if your landing page breaks the promise of your ad, Google basically assumes your ad is toxic.
Wow. Toxic?
Yeah, and the penalty is algorithmic decay. your quality score drops, which means your ad placement gets downgraded, and your CPC artificially inflates over time just to compensate.
So you end up paying a premium for worse real estate, all because you couldn't maintain the narrative thread.
Exactly, it's a brutal negative feedback loop.
And considering the guide notes that average CPCs have jumped 12 to 18% year over year, wasting that click is just catastrophic.
It really is.
So message matching has basically shifted from being a nice-to-have CRO best practice to a mandatory budget protection strategy.
Absolutely, the margin for error is gone. Every single click that bounces off a mismatched page just accelerates your burn rate, which means we really have to look closely at the architecture of alignment.
Right, like how do we actively prevent that algorithmic penalty from happening in the first place?
Well, the guide emphasizes it's not just about, dynamically injecting the same headline on a page. The alignment has to permeate multiple dimensions to build a seamless story.
It's structural, right, like keyword alignment.
Yes. If the search query and the ad use the exact phrase budget-friendly, but your landing page uses the word affordable, that slight semantic shift introduces micro-friction.
Even just changing budget-friendly to affordable.
Yeah, it creates cognitive load. The brain has to subconsciously translate budget-friendly to affordable to ensure it's in the right place.
That is wild. And beyond just the syntax, there is the visual continuity too.
Oh, visuals are huge.
Right, because if the ad creative is high contrast, maybe urgent and technically dense, but then the landing page is stark, minimalist, and very consumer-focused, the prospect feels like they've walked into the wrong room again.
Exactly. The vibe is off. You have to maintain the specific vibe and density of the ad all the way through the checkout flow.
Which is where I feel like most teams just hit a wall.
They do. They recognize the mismatch, they identify the friction, and their immediate reflex is to just run a standard layout A/B test to fix it.
But wait, isn't that what A/B testing is for? If a page layout is bad, won't a traditional A/B test just tell us to change it?
You'd think so, right?
I mean, you run a control against a variant, look for the statistical significance on the CVR, and then you just push the winner to production. That's been the playbook for literally a decade.
It has, and it's exactly why win rates on traditional A/B tests have plummeted recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Fiber Guide points out the fatal flaw in that old approach. They call it the blended traffic trap.
The blended traffic trap, okay, what is that?
The problem with a standard layout test is that it completely ignores the acquisition source. You are dumping traffic from a dozen different campaigns with a dozen completely different intents into the exact same heterogeneous testing pool.
Ah, okay. So you're testing a static layout against wildly conflicting expectations.
Exactly.
It's like setting the office thermostat to 70 degrees because half the building is literally on fire and the other half is freezing.
That is a phenomenal way to visualize it.
Right. It mathematically averages out to a fine temperature, but in reality, everyone in the building is miserable.
Yes. If variant A features a long, really dense feature matrix, your technical prospects coming from a specific LinkedIn ad will probably convert at a high rate on that.
Because they want the details.
Right. But your top-of-funnel social traffic, they will bounce immediately. It's too much text.
Makes sense.
So then you look at variant B. That might be a snappy 2-minute explainer video. The social traffic loves it, but the technical buyers find it utterly useless.
So when you average the results at the end of a 2-week sprint, the test just looks completely flat. Both variants probably hovered around a 2% conversion rate.
Exactly. The A/B test essentially lies to you.
Wow.
It tells you neither layout works, when the reality is that both layouts work perfectly, just for entirely different segments of your audience.
So the blended data obscures the actual signal.
Completely. A useful signal only emerges when the layout variant is inexorably tied to the specific ad, keyword, or audience segment that generated the click. You just cannot test a landing page in a vacuum anymore.
Because the landing page only really exists as a continuation of the ad.
Exactly.
Which means the entire paradigm of CRO has to pivot. We can't optimize for the quote-unquote average user because the average user doesn't actually exist.
Never did, really. But it's especially true now.
But mechanically, that sounds like a total deployment nightmare.
It sounds like it, yeah.
I mean, if every single campaign and subsegment requires a hyper-specific matched layout to avoid this blended traffic trap, how do marketing teams execute that?
Yeah.
You can't just bottleneck your engineering department with thousands of hard-coded page requests.
No, you can't. And that is where the tech stack comes in. The solution lies in how 2026 tools leverage UTM parameters.
Okay, UTMs, we know those.
Right. We've moved far beyond building static standalone pages.
Yeah.
What you do now is build a single modular template.
Just one template.
Just one. Then you rely on personalization platforms that parse the UTM string, which is hidden in the click's payload, in the milliseconds before the page even renders.
Okay, I love this. So the platform reads the UTM parameters, the source, the medium, the specific campaign ID, the search term, and it uses that data as a trigger to conditionally render specific modules on the template.
Exactly. So if the UTM indicates the click came from an enterprise security campaign, it instantly swaps the hero image, injects the technical feature matrix we talked about, and alters the call to action.
And this all happens before the user even sees the first paint of the site.
Without any page flicker whatsoever. The seamlessness is what prevents the bounce.
That is incredible. And the guide actually does an excellent job categorizing the current software landscape based on where exactly a team needs to implement that logic.
It does. It breaks down the top tools really well.
Let's run through those because the deployment strategy obviously changes depending on the complexity of the match you're trying to achieve. For instance, if a team is primarily concerned with visual and behavioral alignment, say tracking how far a specific segment scrolls before bouncing, the guide points to VWO.
Yeah, VWO is highly rated there. They gave it a 4.4 out of 5.
Nice.
And that's because it integrates visual editing with session recordings and heat maps natively.
Oh, so you can actually watch what they do.
Right. It allows a team to diagnose why a conditionally rendered layout succeeded or failed based on the actual mouse velocity and interaction depth of that specific UTM segment.
That's super powerful. But what if the focus is entirely on dynamic text replacement, like where you just need to instantly swap out headers and subheaders to mirror highly specific long-tail search queries?
For that, unbound seems to be the preferred route.
Yeah, the guide gave him a 4.3.
Exactly. Their smart traffic routing is ideal for performance teams who need to launch high-volume, keyword-aligned tests without ever filing a JIRA ticket for IT support.
It totally removes the developer bottleneck for those superficial changes.
It does. However, when your message matching requires structural back-end alterations, you have to move up to the enterprise tier.
Right, like if you need to reorder an entire checkout flow based on an audience segment.
Or if you need to conditionally render a complex pricing API for an international campaign.
Yeah.
That is where tools like Optimizely and A/B/Tasty come into play.
Right, because you are dealing with full-stack experimentation there.
Exactly. They scored a 4.5 and 4.4 respectively.
And the critical feature there, especially with A/B/Tasty, is feature flagging, isn't it?
Oh, feature flagging is a lifesaver.
I can imagine. Because if a marketer dynamically alters a pricing table based on a UTM parameter, and that change inadvertently breaks the CSS rendering on, say, iOS devices, the feature flag acts as an instant kill switch.
Yep. You can roll back the change immediately without waiting for a new deployment cycle from engineering.
That risk mitigation has to be essential when you're manipulating back-end architecture at that scale.
Definitely. Now, the guide also notes Instapage, which got a 4.3, as a strong solution specifically for agency environments.
Why agencies?
Because it offers isolated workspaces to prevent campaign bleeding across multiple client portfolios.
Ah, that makes sense. Keeps everything organized. But the platform that the report positions at the absolute center of this whole UTM-driven methodology is Fiber AI.
Yeah, they gave it a 4.6 out of 5, which is the highest rating in the entire guide.
And from what I'm seeing, it's because Fiber treats the ad click itself, rather than the landing page, as the gravitational center of the testing environment. It just bypasses the manual rule setting entirely.
That is the defining shift right there. Fiber AI doesn't just execute the dynamic swaps, it actually generates the layout variants automatically per campaign and audience segment.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because we're not just talking about conditional logic and standard automation anymore.
No, we are crossing into a new era.
The guide transitions into the 2026 AI frontier by highlighting Fiber AI's, quote, agentic personalization layer. We are moving from automation, where a human still has to write the if-and rules for swapping the headlines, to fully autonomous agents.
Right. The AI agents are reading the campaign data, they are generating the copy variations, deploying them against the specific traffic segments, and then optimizing the permutations in real time.
It just completely removes the manual load of hypothesizing the variants.
Entirely.
And what's wild is who these autonomous agents are actually optimizing for. The source material details this massive shift in traffic acquisition. We are seeing a huge influx of traffic arriving directly from AI assistants.
Yeah, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini.
Exactly. This isn't traditional search engine traffic anymore.
Not at all. It's an entirely new category they call research intent traffic. Prior to 2025, this didn't even exist at a meaningful scale.
Right.
But now in 2026, LLMs operate as primary research engines. When a user clicks a citation link generated by ChatGPT, they've already bypassed the traditional discovery and comparison phases.
They aren't just casually browsing around.
No. They possess incredibly high intent, but they also demand high information density.
But wait, how does the system actually recognize that the user is coming from an LLM? Like, how does it differentiate that click from someone randomly tapping a link on Twitter?
It comes down to the digital signature of the session. The agentic layer actually analyzes the HTTP referral headers and the user agent strings to identify the LLM source.
Oh, wow, okay.
But more importantly, it monitors behavioral velocity.
Behavioral velocity.
Yeah, traffic from an LLM exhibits very distinct interaction patterns. We see longer dwell times, much slower scrolling, which indicates deep reading, and a higher propensity to interact with complex data visualizations rather than just superficial marketing copy.
So the AI platform detects that signature in real time, realizes the prospect is in this deep research rabbit hole, and it immediately reconfigures the site architecture for them. It just strips out the fluffy, top-of-funnel marketing speak and serves up the dense technical documentation, white papers, or API specs that the research intent user is actually looking for.
Exactly that. It matches the cognitive state of the user perfectly. If you send that ChatGPT user to a standard, visually heavy homepage designed for like Instagram traffic, the dissonance is massive and they bounce.
Right, hate it.
But by dynamically pivoting to a research-optimized layout, you capture a high-value prospect that traditional CRO methods would have completely alienated.
The granularity of that is staggering. The website effectively reads your intent and shapeshifts to accommodate your current psychological state.
It's essentially real-time empathy at scale.
But the real question for anyone managing a P&L right now is whether this level of autonomous, hyper-personalized matching actually justifies the tech investment. Does it really move the needle?
Well, the hard numbers presented in the guide confirm that it absolutely does. Teams deploying this agentic message matching at scale are reporting an average 28% higher ROI on their existing campaigns.
28%, just from matching the message.
Just from that. Furthermore, they are seeing a 30% reduction in customer acquisition costs, simply because they aren't bleeding out expensive clicks on mismatched landing pages anymore.
And the most aggressive metric here, which blew my mind, is up to 4 times more leads generated.
Yeah, 4x.
The underlying thesis of the Fiber report seems to be that by enforcing absolute continuity between the ad's promise and the landing page's delivery, you can theoretically double your conversion rate without increasing your ad spend by a single dollar.
That's the beauty of it. You are simply capturing the latent value of the traffic you are already paying for. You eliminate the dissonance, you eliminate the algorithmic penalty, and you stop the bleed. It is without a doubt the most capital-efficient growth lever available right now.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, whether you are engineering these campaigns or just analyzing the data? The ultimate takeaway here is that landing page optimization is no longer just a design problem.
Not at all.
It is an intent fulfillment problem. If your layout isn't dynamically tethered to the specific promise made by your ad, your A/B tests are lying to you, your budget is burning, and Google's algorithm is quietly penalizing your domain. Message matching is the structural foundation of modern performance marketing.
And, if we pull back and look at the broader implications of this technology, it raises a rather profound question about the future architecture of information itself.
Oh, I like where this is going.
If AI platforms in 2026 are dynamically altering the headline, the structural layout, and the core offer of a website in real time to match our exact individualized intent, what happens to the concept of a shared internet?
Wow.
If you and I navigate to the exact same company's domain, but we are served 2 completely different virtual storefronts tailored down to our specific psyches, does a universal homepage even exist anymore?
That is a phenomenal point. If a brand looks entirely different, sounds entirely different, and offers different products to every single user based on their specific inbound intent, does that brand even have a core identity anymore? Or has the brand just become a digital mirror reflecting whatever the user wants to see?
It's a bit unsettling, honestly.
It really is. That is a complex reality to navigate. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. The next time you click an ad, pay close attention to the structural layout of the page that loads. It might just be an ephemeral architecture built in milliseconds exclusively for you. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mind Your Conversions, brought to you by Fiber. We hope you're walking away with fresh ideas and practical strategies to elevate your marketing and digital customer experience. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Thanks for listening. Until then, take care, and we'll see you next time.